Hi, third graders, welcome back. We started talking yesterday about our power organizer and how we were using the information from our plot mountain, right? The introduction and the rising action, the turning point, the falling action, our resolution at the bottom. We are taking that information, we are putting it on this power organizer, and you'll use the same organizer all year long for writing. It will always have a triangle at the top and the bottom. You always have 3 rectangles in the middle. Remember, I said the information might be different depending on we're working on a narrative or an opinion writing or an informational or expository writing. But the setup, the template, the framework will be exactly the same. These are organized, right, in 5 different parts. You can see that. I want to talk to you today a little bit about paragraphs, okay? Our writing that we're working on this week is going to be written in 5 paragraphs. So you'll notice this top triangle will be 1 paragraph, a second paragraph, a third paragraph, a fourth paragraph, and a 5th paragraph at the bottom. And I want you to understand that a paragraph is just a collection of sentences, and it can change. So we notice that it changes when we see something special. So I want to show you an example. This is just a story that we're reading in my class. Do you see this big space right here? We call that an indent. You'll see another one here, and then here, and then down here. That is a new paragraph. Here's 1 paragraph. Then I see that indent. That's a new paragraph. Okay, and then so on and so forth. I call it a 2-finger indent. So when you're writing on paper, you actually put 2 fingers and then you start your first sentence or your first line. Okay, so when you start to practice and you start to write, we want to make sure that we indent those paragraphs. Now you're in 3rd grade. You should be able to write anywhere from 5 to 8 sentences at least for each of these paragraphs. All right. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is when we go from one paragraph to another, we want to use transition words. And writers use those transition words to help their reader understand the order of events. So, right, first this is happening, next this is happening, then this is happening, and then finally at the end, this is happening. So in your writer's notebook, you need to get a fresh piece of paper. The last page that we worked on was our plot mountain. Okay, so your next page, you're going to pause this video and you're going to copy down this at the beginning. Okay, this is the definition of what transition words are. You need to be writing this in your notebook. So pause the video and then start it when you're ready. Okay. Transition words. I put it inside a big bubble because that draws attention to that, right? My eye says, ooh, that's important. I better look at it. Oh yeah, this is the lesson on transition words. And I'm going to use those in my writing. You'll be required to do that. Here's the definition. Writers use transition words to help readers understand the order of events in their story. That's why they're there. You're going to include them, and I want to make sure that you have some good examples. Now, what I'm writing down here aren't the only transition words. So if you have other ones that you want to use, feel free. This is just a start, kind of a collection. Okay, so you've already written that down. Here are some words that can signal the beginning of something at the beginning of our story. You might use the word first. You might start with in the beginning, or to begin with, or first of all, depending on how you want to start your story. Now remember, this is going to be the first letter, so it should be capitalized when you start your paragraph. Okay, so these would be things that we would use in the beginning of our story. So make sure you pause the video and you write those down. Okay, now that you've got your beginning transition words, let's look at some words we might use in the middle of our story, right? In the middle, or maybe our story is continuing. So it's not the beginning, it's not at the end yet. These are some words you might use in the middle of your story. Words like next, or then, later, afterwards. So that's showing your reader that time is passing, events are happening, okay, and there's a sequence and an order to your writing. Helps keep us organized. So pause the video and make sure you write down those transition words to use in the middle of a story. Okay, and then finally, we've got transition words that we could use at the end of our story. Words like last, finally, in the end, lastly. Okay, all of those would be great to use at the end of your story, right? So we talked right here on this one, it says the word last. I could have written finally instead because this is the end. So this is going to be in my bottom triangle. So I'm going to write my upside down triangle like that. Okay, this is at the very end, and I want to make sure that you put it at the end of your story. Now, we're going to talk about leads tomorrow or the next time we meet, which is the part of our power organizer that gets everything started, right? We want to hook the reader so that they're interested in what we have to say. You'll notice on this power organizer and on yours, it's got listed first, next, then. If you decide to use a different transition word, that's up to you, but make sure it's showing the order of the events that are happening in your story and make sure it makes sense.